things are. But it is 10 o'clock, and this is Thursday morning, and this is Woodturners Weekly Coffee Hour, and I think it's number 122 or maybe 123. I never get that right till I go look at my calendar. Anyway, welcome aboard. I see 27 on screen this morning. More people will click in as they usually do. We are going to use raise hand here because it makes it very easy. So if you'd like to show stuff or you got a speech you want to make, where you hit the raise hand button and you'll pop to the top of my screen. And I see about 5 people up there right now, including I'm going to start with Bert this morning. But before I do, just as like anybody else got any announcements they want to make? Okay. Bert's got safety he'd like to show us, and I'm always good with that. So Bert, over to you. I'm going to put the spotlight on you.
Okay, so everybody can see this. This is an urn that I made. It's a staved urn. I put a removable plug in the bottom, holds about 230 cubic inches, and it was made on a special request. And well, I'm actually made 2 of them, and you should be able to see me on the shop.
We got it.
Okay, just wait for it.
Whoa!
Oh,
whoa!
I doubled up. It'll show it again here just a second. So that I know the first time around everybody gets their attention. The second time they look a little closer. So I ran it twice.
Holy
okay, so yeah. Okay.
I noticed you checked your teeth, Bert.
Well, I got hit in the face hard enough that it popped the face shield compressed against my face. It popped this lens out of my glasses. I had no blood or no things. My phone was in my pocket. When I took my phone out, this is a brand new phone. It's nice and level. The phone that I took out of my pocket was like a banana.
wow.
And I had no bruises on my body. So I say, well, my phone had a cracked screen anyhow. It was time to be replaced. That just brought it a little bit quicker. But the main point was wearing a face shield saved the day. So that's I'm going to show this at our club meeting next Thursday too, just as a safety moment. And all those pieces you seen flying, this is all those pieces.
So what happened, Bert? Was it bad glue or cold glue or too soon to go after gluing? What happened?
It was mental stupidity on my part. If you'll notice, this is a staved construction. And of course, when you're doing staved construction, you got end grain and side grain or
Base grain.
spindle turning and cross grain turning. And when you use the wrong tool on cross grain, bad things happen.
What was the wrong tool?
So I shaped everything with a bowl gouge on these ends. And then this part was I used a spindle gouge on. And if you'll notice, I was coming across to the end of here. And as soon as the spindle gouge touched the cross grain, that's when it exploded. So it's
a spindle roughing gouge, Bert?
That's correct. That's I could say the brain cells.
Bert, is that a butt joint? Are the cap
actually
put on with the simple butt joint?
No, this is actually there's a tenon inside of here. I put a tenon in the bottom side of this piece that fits down into the bore of the barrel. So it's actually a spigot, like a mortise and tenon joint, about a little better than 1/8 of an inch.
How thick are the tenons? I mean, the staves.
The staves are 5/8 to a little over 5/8 of an inch thick.
Okay.
How long had the glue set, and what was the temperature in the shop when you glued it up?
It was about probably 20 degrees Celsius, and it had been glued up for 3 days. I went back and tried to watch this thing in slow motion. This was just a little Wisecam security camera I captured the footage on. And so I tried to go through frame by frame to see exactly what happened. And that's when I found out that, brain fart, I had the wrong damn tool in my hand. And as soon as the spindle roughing gouge touched the cross grain, it caught. And this is oak. So oak's an open grain wood. You've got to be careful with oak. You got to use sharp bowl gouges because it's open grain, and I think that's it's just everything broke on the wood. All of the joints, glue joints, were in perfect shape. Every bit of the piece that broke along the grain line, and that's why I was able to find all the pieces. And I just put them all back together. And I would challenge anybody to find all of the splits in here because I couldn't find them after I'd turned and sanded it.
From what happened to your phone, you're kind of lucky you didn't wind up in that jar. Tell you the truth.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. That's like I say, without a face shield, I wouldn't be. Without a face shield, I probably wouldn't be here this morning. So
I think without a phone in your pocket is as much to the point. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was a blow
yeah.
to the chest.
How fast was it going, Bert?
it was only going about 600 RPM.
Oh,
Like specifically with something like that, I generally don't go very fast. Because I was concerned with centrifugal force and all of the rest of the things. So probably between 600 and 800 RPM.
you should have had an overhead camera, and then you could have even seen it more dramatically.
Yeah, well, I didn't expect it to fly apart. I've got 3 little wise cams stuck around at 3 different angles in the shop, and this one here just happened to. I was just really happy that it actually captured the event because it's a great training moment. That's people talk about face shields all the time, and this is just another one of those ones where it's reinforcement for damn sure wear a face shield regardless what you're turning. Wear a face shield.
Now, I'm more concerned about what type of face shield. Was that one of those bionic ones or whatever you call
That's a
it?
bionic. I think it's an I-87, whatever rating it is on it, and
It's a
none of them
UX,
are bulletproof. Yeah, UVEX. That's right. It was a UVEX.
I see a lot of people wearing just this face shield that just comes down and has no bottom piece, just a piece of plastic in front of your face, and that's a splash guard. That's not a face shield. That's
That's
to
right.
keep
That's a splash guard. Yeah.
flashing on you. That isn't any use at all at the lathe, but an awful lot of people wear them and they think they're being safe. So that's
That's
important
light
to
and
get
cheap.
that sorted.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Well,
a good
we all
point. I'll make
started
sure I'll make sure I mention that it is a bionic, a UVEX bionic face shield, and it did deflect and it did push up against my face because I said it popped my glasses and flexed them enough that one lens popped out, and the other piece had hit my phone. Well, but the most important part was the face shield because there would have been blood on the wood if I didn't have it. Anyway, that's my story for today.
Bert,
I'm
you
glad
can,
to see
you
you
can
here
flatten your
still alive.
phone out with a few taps of a hammer.
Yeah.
Okay. Bowman, we want to show the movie you got from the Mid Atlantic?
Oh, all right. We can do that. I think I'm all ready to go.
Okay.
Yeah. It's only 4 minutes, so don't blink.
You're clear.
Hello, everyone. First of all, I just want to say thanks to the Mid Atlantic Board for inviting me to be here, and I think we all should give them a quick applause for all of the hard work they put into making this happen. What I'll be showing you during this weekend is how to create this mirror, the 2-part mirror. And this came about by doing demonstrations, chatting with a person and accidentally cut the bottom of a bowl. So I'll also be showing milk paint, utilizing milk paint to really bring these surfaces to life.
I'm particularly smitten with this piece. I just think the color on this piece is amazing.
I think we both are, yeah.
The way he painted it is just really spot on, and it really emphasizes how beautifully you set up this piece of wood for success with that beautiful X in the middle.
And, you know, I'm not usually a shiny finish person. Carol, you know me, I'm a very natural wood person. But the subtle colors are actually really, they pop because of the shiny. So I have to say, you know, my impression is, and it does have a bit of a lip on the inside, which is nice.
Nice for scooping, not that
Yeah, the form is really good, and I think the execution's great. And the thing I like the most about it is, when you see how thick this is, you think, I'm going to pick this up, it's going to be really heavy.
Yeah.
And it's like light as a feather.
These folks all became owners of choice pieces. So what did you get? Tops.
Tops. And an
Oh, okay.
example study.
And you? Oh, yes.
Oh, we got a Mark Gardner demo piece.
Oh, it was a demo piece.
Yes,
Who
demo
did it?
piece.
Who?
Mark Gardner.
Mark did. Okay. What do you got? You got a finial.
I've got a finial, and it's from Keith Tompkins. So, and I watched him make it. It was
Oh, you
very
did? Oh,
impressive.
that makes it even more fun, doesn't it? Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad you got the bid.
Hello.
Good to see you guys.
Hello from Germany.
And here's Doug Research. Come say hi, Doug.
Hey, how you doing?
Say hi to the gang.
How's it going, gang?
Well, you're looking into this camera's looking at you.
Okay, so I'm looking at the camera quick.
And you can see them on the Zoom over there.
Okay.
I use these pads. These are specially designed for acrylics. And there's only 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. And they are double-sided.
Because it's got a really decent fan in there. You can see the smoke go sideways. Right in the machine.
What makes Thompson steel?
What makes Thompson steel? I'll tell you what, because you're in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, do you know the steel is manufactured in Latrobe, Pennsylvania? We do all the machining to the steel, and then it comes back to Pennsylvania for the heat treatment. That's what makes it so special.
How'd that name Big Monk come up?
So it's our granddaughter. Her favorite stuffed animal was a monkey named Big Monk. Mostly exotics. That's what we started with. We do some domestic woods. We try and find things that aren't going to be available in the areas that we go to.
What's the importance of symposiums like this to AAW?
Well, you are all our people. You're our members, and we want to support you.
Thank you for bringing the shirts and the gowns. And
yes, and the smocks. A well-dressed woodturner starts with a nice smock.
Never worked with it wasn't bad. That's a 10-second penalty on the take on. 3 minutes. Halfway done. Don't let him bother you.
My other pal, Daniel Barber. Woohoo! Thank you, dear. Wonderful. Oh, that was worth $25 a box. Okay, and the last award is the one judged by a professional. We had the honor of Joe Seltzer.
There it is.
Thank you, Jim.
Kai, we got you on.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
I'm glad you said you were from Germany too. That made it even stronger. Thank you.
Yeah, it was good fun.
We talked about that in Mid Atlantic last week. We're not going to revisit it unless somebody's dying to say something. Okay, I'm going to go to Kai. Kai's got something to follow up with, and
okay. I'll share my screen, see whether that works. So last week, I talked about turning aluminum and brass on a wood turning lathe. And there was a question about carbide inserts, whether you could use them for working these metals. And I said, I prefer scrapers with a burr, wood turning tools. They work better for me. And Doug said, well, these carbide tools were made actually for working metal, so they should do a good job. And I tried it again, and that's what I found out. I tried 2 different types of inserts. This one actually is a carbide insert that is designed for cutting aluminum. This one is a carbide insert that is designed for cutting wood. They are often used on tools that you put on a shaper in a woodworking workshop, for example. So and I found this works pretty well. That works as well, but not as nicely as the the round insert I've got here, and I've filmed it to show you. So this does a really nice job on aluminum, better than my woodworking or wood turning tools. And I tried the same one on brass. Well, sorry, that's the brass one. And it works even better. You get really nice long shaving and really smooth surface. Yeah, and this might be because the insert is curved a little bit on the inside, and it acts like maybe a burr sticking up on a wood turning scraper. So that and it works for wood as well. These this aluminum insert. So and just to show you, these
are they expensive?
Sorry, there was a question I didn't get.
Are they expensive? Yeah,
no,
are they expensive?
Not really. I think they are around 4 or 5 euros in Germany, these inserts. And as they are round, you can turn them round. So if one part is blunt, you just turn it a little bit, a few degrees, and then you can go on working. So they are not expensive. The holder is homemade, and the insert, as I said, around 4 euros. Maybe you get better qualities that are a little bit more expensive. And they are normally held with a special hardened screw. And these screws are rather expensive as well, if you use kind of the original screws that are designed to go with these round inserts.
And I noticed
how
that every
did the
manufacturer,
aluminum carbide tool work on like a composite piece where you transition from brass or aluminum to wood?
I didn't get that. Sorry, could you say it again, Barry?
If you have a piece of, if you're turning wood that basically has some embellishments of aluminum or brass, embedded in it, and you want to incorporate it as part of the final design, when the aluminum cutting carbide tool that you showed, when it transitions from cutting metal to cutting wood or vice versa, does it handle wood equally well?
Yes, it does.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I might have missed that. Thank you.
For wood, it's good to hold the tool at an angle so you get more of a shear cutting action with the tool, similar to a scraper. Yeah.
I had a question on your close-up of the tool earlier. Was that after it's used or as when it was new?
Just go back so we can see it. So
Is that new or used?
It is used. It is used, and you can see some of the deposit on here from the brass. I think that's the yellow stuff here. So that is used. Yes.
I asked because I took a magnifying glass to my cup cutters recently, and I was surprised how dinged up they were. I didn't know it without magnifying it. So.
Yeah, this still works, and I used it on wood and plastics, pen planks, acrylic pen planks as well. So yeah, that's.
Any more video there, Kai, or shall I go to share?
Just the picture I wanted to show. Oh, sorry, this one. So as Barry said, you can combine wood and metal, for example. This is a plate done by Haley Smith, and she uses silver wire, drills holes into the plate, then glues in short bits of silver wire, and then she turns the whole thing. So, and then you get these dots, and if you use different diameters of silver wire, you have different sizes of dots. That's a pretty nice idea, and that's a situation where you have a mixture of wood and metal that you turn. And then yesterday we had our own club meeting here in Germany, and we had guest Hermann Straten, and he turns miniatures. For example, these little pieces out of amber, and he made these brass finials and tops with the same technique, using scrapers on a wood turning lathe. And for comparison of size, there's a 1 cent piece that is 15 millimeters in Germany, which is a little bit more than ½ an inch. So you can imagine how small these pieces are.
Are those hollow?
Yes, they are hollow. He turns them hollow and he polishes them on the inside and on the outside, so you get this translucent look on the amber.
Did you see what kind of tools and techniques he uses?
He uses homemade, mostly scraping tools to do that, and then special polishes to polish the amber. Yeah, I can find out more about that if that's of interest. How he works the amber exactly. But amber is rather expensive in Germany. At least if you buy the real natural material, and so you get it only in small pieces, and that's why it's good for miniature turning, for example. So he does these for dolls' houses, and there are collectors of dolls' house furniture and miniature dolls' houses, and that's where his market is.
Kai, can you provide the source for your cup cutter in chat? Can you put? I'm interested in that because it looks like it held pretty good. So
yeah, the cup cutter you can buy. I put it in the chat, and I can also send it to John, so he can post it.
I would expect our regular industrial suppliers will have those.
Yeah, you get them on Amazon and eBay as well.
Mike Hunter has been supplying these. My first Mike Hunter cutter, which he kind of pioneered this for wood, is an ultrafine carbide, and they are intended for machining aluminum. I bought my first one 15 years ago, and that cutter is still usable. I made my own shaft. I used a piece of I think 1/2 inch cold rolled steel and tapered it. And as Kai was saying, the torque screws have actually a taper mount on them, and they are unique to each cutter. And I had to buy metric drill and tap, etc., and I still got them. And one I used, Lyle Jameson, again, like a dozen years ago, started using the smallest one, which is only about 4 millimeters, in a hollowing rig, and he has it mounted on some 3/16 bar stock, and it mounts on your cutter at the appropriate shear angle for cutting. Jim, that I wouldn't look any further than buying a Hunter cutter. I actually, our area, Hamilton, is a metal industry. It's the Pittsburgh of Canada, and one of the guys gave me a couple of industrial cutters from their shop to try when I bought the Hunter, and they didn't come close to working on wood like the Hunter did. And it's a very, very sharp angle. And they actually, you can rig up a method of sharpening them with a diamond hone. That's a whole other topic, but I can't say enough about Mike Hunter's tools. And there's all kinds of holders for them now with curves and whatnot.
I use Hunters. That's what I've been using. I just wondered if Kai's was better than Hunters.
No, I would say no. You can't do better than Mike Hunter's. There's lots of lookalikes that people are selling.
Kai, can I make an offer?
Yeah.
I believe your burr, I think you're thinking of it as a wood turner. And if you think of it as a machinist, I've had metal lathes most of my adult life. And if you look in the manuals, a good machinist handbook, you will see that there are negative rake and different angles for different materials, aluminum, brass, mild steel. And I don't think the burr has as much to do with it as if you can imagine a side profile of your circular carbide inserts, you will see it's probably almost identical to what a machinist would take a quarter or a small blank and grind. And most of the machinists will take a square blank and grind it to a particular, usually a negative rake. And I think that's where your good cutting quality comes from as opposed to the burr. Just an opinion, but I applaud you for playing. I love it. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you for the tip.
Anybody else on this?
Kai, the cutter you showed up close, the aluminum cutter, it appeared to have a positive rake angle. Is that like a zero rake angle that just looks that way because of the embellishment for chip breakers?
I have to go back to the photo just a second. See whether I can. Oh no, I have to do a share to do that. Sorry, I can just share it again and go. Oh, can you see that now?
Yes.
Yeah. So we are talking about that one, Barry.
I'm saying in the image, it appears to have a like an aggressive, like a positive rake, but I can't tell if that's just because of is that negative rake around the edge?
It might be what you call a positive rake. So this curves up a little bit. So it's like a cup, it curves up a little bit. And on the outside, it has got a clearance angle of 7 degrees. So
they actually behave like a gouge in a pull cut in a vessel. They're best on wood end grain, but they will also do side grain.
Yeah, if you turn them so that you cut with the edge here and the bevel touching, you get something like a shear cut on the wood, and that gives you a nice surface. They are a little bit difficult to control, but the surface, once you've got the technique right, is really nice.
Very nice.
Yeah, that's something to play around with.
Very interesting.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to end your share unless you are.
I stop it. Okay.
Okay. Anybody else on this, or shall we go on? Stu Bremner, you're up next. What do you got?
And you're still muted.
There we go. Okay. Good morning. Thanks for having me. Great to see you again, John. I got a couple of things here that I've been playing around with, and just thought it'd be interesting to show it. So I got a black poplar burl.
So what's is that epoxy with that?
Yeah, it is. It's a black poplar burl. It's a core from a bigger piece that I had. A friend of mine gave it to me, and it's just a garbage piece of wood around here. Some poplar is just nothing. They grow everywhere, and I've never experienced trying to turn a burl of this before. And this actually, personally, I cored this piece out and did a little bit of epoxy to fill some holes, and ended up with this. I do have to do one more flood on the inside to give it as much sheen as the outside. This actually has, I think, 3 coats on the outside. It was a little bit rough, so there's a few little voids in it here, but I'm going to leave that alone and just do another flood coat on the inside, and that'll be it.
You're in Edmonton or somewhere near there, aren't you?
Just out of Edmonton. I'm about 8 miles away from Bert.
Okay.
Spruce Grove.
So that's the kind of trees you get around there is poplars.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, they basically grow everywhere here. Yeah.
Okay, nice piece. You got another one?
Yeah, I do. I got a yarn bowl that I made here. That it's a piece of Manitoba maple, and I did an epoxy insert in. How I did that, I took the blank I turned about a year ago. I rough turned it about that 2-inch band in the middle there. I turned that out and just left it for well over a year. And I went and took it and put it in a bucket upside down because I had it was full. I didn't pour the inside out at all. I just left the full thing blank and turned it upside down in the bucket and poured the epoxy to the outside. And I ended up with about it was probably about 3/4 of an inch thick. And I turned it down. It's about 3/16 full band. Did a little bit of Lichtenberg on one of the knots in it here, but I think it turned out pretty good. And top for it.
So the yarn comes out through that slot.
No handle, just a slot for the wool. And away it goes.
Nice piece.
What kind of epoxy did you use?
UV epoxy. Ultraviolet. UV epoxy.
Okay. Thank you.
And wait a minute. I'm sorry. No, the UV was for the flood. What was it? Let me think. Oh, it was an art supply place that it actually came off internet. And I can't remember the name of it, but it was a little cheaper than the other stuff that I was buying. So I thought I'd give it a whirl, and it actually turned out pretty good. I was happy with it. It's fairly quick dry. I think this came out of the bucket in about 2 days. So it was a fairly quick cure. So, and it turned up nice. I was quite happy how it turned. So, I would use it again.
Okay. Any other questions for Stu? Okay. Nice work, Stu.
Thanks.
Don, you got it figured out yet? You're muted again.
I seem to be having some trouble with my internet connection today, but I'll try once more.
Okay, give it another try.
Share screen. Share. What have we got this time?
Hey,
you got it.
Got it.
A reindeer. Right. The photographs I'm going to show you are not, they were done over the last 34 years, and are really for my own collection. But this is a reindeer that we made 3 or 4 years ago for Christmas. The body's about 14 inches long, legs are 6 inches, and then the head on top of it. And every year that comes out at Christmas and sits in the porch, welcoming anybody who comes along at Christmas time.
Nice piece. How big did you say that was?
Sorry, John?
How tall is that?
The feet are 6 inches, the body's 4 inches, and then you've got a neck and a head on top of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
There is a design of this on the club website, which I can let you have at any time. The next picture, this is some little dish vases, pencil boxes I made, or pencil vases, and they're all hollow. And these little rings you see around the center are actually the end of each one of the pencils that's in the pot. So I buy quite a number of pencils at the same time in packets, and I take one set and I insert, when I've drilled the hole, I insert the pencil in, cut it off, and keep that bunch of pencils for going around all the boxes, so that all the colored crayons are the same length when you put them in the pot to sell them.
Don, what do you sell that for? What's the price on that?
They go for £10, which is, what's that? $1.50, £15?
$12, $15, yeah.
Yeah, $12, $15.
Yeah.
Don, how do you drill the holes for the pencils?
Right. When I've got it on the lathe, I use my dividing point on the dividing head, and I have a metal block which sits in the banjo with a very large hole, and I've got made some inserts for different drill sizes. So once I've set that up for center, I turn it round, lock into my first point, drill in, turn it. There's 8 pencils on there, so I turn that, what's that, 3 points, then drill the next one with a hand drill going through the dolly that's inside the holder. So each hole goes in square on the lathe.
Don, do you have to remove the outer layer of the pencil to get the glue to stick, or anything special you do there?
No, I just put them in with super glue, CA glue. And they're only in a 3/16 of an inch, something like that, because I've turned the bowl, the outside fairly well before I do them. And then I put it in, I cut them off with just an ordinary junior hacksaw, and then just finish the turning afterwards. And then you end up with the pencil with the color of the, which would be a pencil color, as a little dot within the center of that dowel piece.
Don,
Nice touch.
Yeah, Don, I can see a lot of fun with that idea, putting another row or two and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, you can do. These I made for Christmas craft fairs that I used to do, and I found that they went extremely well at Christmas because it's just a little something that's different to anybody else had.
Well, sometime show us the rig you use to drill the holes, please.
Yeah, I'll get that and I'll show you.
Okay.
Could you just
I'll
use
bring
a
up another
V?
time.
Couldn't you use
Yeah.
just a V in your banjo, a V groove, and just lay the drill in there? So
You could, but then your drill's going to be touching that groove.
Another item that you should be looking at maybe is a drill wizard from Wenway.
what's that?
I don't know. I'll show you what I make and how I do it. I'll bring the piece in and show it on camera next week, or
next
whenever
slide.
we've got time, whatever happens next week. So I'll go to the next one. These are 2 little pots I made. This one on the right is English yew. The one on the left is white oak, brown oak. And you buy these inserts. We used to buy these from Craft Supplies. And they're hollowed out, not quite like Jimmy Clue's Jim. They are following the contour of the outside shape. And then they're a rim put on the top, and then these are just super glued on. And of course, they've got a button connection. Again, a nice seller for Christmas. This was a gavel I had to make for the Mayor of Havant when she took office a while back. And as you can see, it's actually 2010, 2011. Remember I did that pestle and mortar with the ceramic worktop? Well, that top of the gavel is made out of that same material, as per the knob, and also the finial on the end of the handle. Trying to get inspiration for a competition piece, I was watching a film, The Gladiators, and saw these Roman helmets on the Roman soldiers. So this is a turned helmet on a stand, and the back of it's cut away, and of course you've got the eyepieces and what have you there.
That's just for fun,
And
that piece.
competition piece. Okay. This was an extraordinary pen. I was asked if I could turn coconut beans. And these are all coconut beans put together in an epoxy. And that was the final result of it. But that's not the only pens I make. There's a load more there. Rifle pens, click pens, and normal slimline pens.
So I guess you sell those too.
I sell those too, yeah.
What do you sell those for?
The rifle pen, which is at the top here, they go for £25, and the others go for £10. Now, this was 2 vases I made. This was the first one. I wasn't too pleased with it. What I do is that top piece is glued on afterwards. And the vase itself is hollowed. And this one was done by using those iridescent paints, putting them on and then blowing with a straw and blowing the paint across the surface of the black. And then the top is made to fit the top of the vase and then is cut out. This one shows a lot better cutting out before it is fixed onto the top. And then I finish off the top of the bowl whilst it's still on the lathe before taking it off and finishing the bottom.
How tall is that?
Again, they're hollow. But by doing it this way, you've got a much better, tells me the connection is unstable. The top is quite hollow, so you can get in there quite well with your hollowing out of the piece.
How tall are they?
This one is a vase I made with the wooden flowers in, and of course I photographed it in the garden. There's a vase which is hollow again, and I use colouring technique on it of just spirit dyes straight onto a piece of ash to give the colours. Again, that was quite a long time ago.
Yeah.
That's another hollow vessel. This is a hole in the vessel. And as you can see, it's got the natural edge round the top of it.
Oh, nice.
That was, and that was turned wet. And what I did was I couldn't finish it in one day. So I filled it all up with the sawdust off the floor, covered it in cling film, and went back the next day and it hadn't moved, which was rather pleasing when I was turning it.
Looks almost like you curled it over, like you would metal.
Yeah, no, it is actually turned by going rolling the top over and going back underneath.
Nice.
These bowls I have actually shown you before, but this is the ones with the inserts in. That's the top of the bowl. The other one was the underside. These are routed in, and then the pieces are actually diamond shaped. Oh, sorry, they're a 45-degree angle that go in there. And or if you've got a square piece of wood, absolutely square, cut it straight down to 2 diagonals, and then you can glue it in there. And then when you turn it, this is the shapes that you get on your inserts when you turn the bowl. The same with this one. You can see what I mean here by the fact that that was a quarter piece glued in, and when it turns, you get this optical shape. And you can see the bottom there, and then of course the top's not so thick because it's only partially inside the bowl. This is another one. This is involuted turning for the pedestal with a textured rim using these Robert Sawbury texturing system and painted black before the bowl is turned. So I've turned the top bowl as a disc and then shaped it, painted it black, and then turned it so that any paint that might spread is taken off, and you get a nice clean surface. And that is 3 pieces on to make that piece. This is a goblet and that stem is 5/16 of an inch diameter. It has, I started off with a straight piece of sapele. I drilled a hole through it, and then I turned a piece of ash, and to the size that it would fit right down through the stem, and then I turned the stem round to a cylinder, and then of course I did the candy twist on all the way down. That is 8 inches tall, holding the goblet on the top with a base.
So that's essentially handwork, and you carve through the sapele down to the ash. Was that the plan?
That was it. I took it straight down to the ash so that you could see an insert through the, looking like a spring, if you like, right the way through.
That's a very good idea.
You can do it on lots of things, and you can do it bigger or smaller, whatever you like. I mean, this one here took a little bit of working out because the table lamp itself is involuted, and the piece inside is a piece of Pink Lady, I think it is. And that was done with a double candy twist, but it was to get it to fit inside the vase, the candlestick. So what I did was, after I turned the inside and I split it, I joined 2 pieces together, or I joined 4 pieces, but only glued 2 of them together, so it became 2 sets of 2. Put that together, and I drilled the top and the bottom so that when I put a spigot onto the centerpiece that takes the cable, I made certain it fitted into the grooves before I glued the 2 halves back together to make it solid, and then turned the table lamp from there. This is a Paduke bowl square. This is actually turned square. It's not been cut afterwards. And there's another one which is in oak, and just to show you, it's sitting on its floor. The bowl does not touch the table, it sits on its 4 feet. And that is, as I say, turned literally square. It's a little bit hair raising, especially when you come to the sanding, because you have to watch your fingers very carefully with this, so it's, you don't really turn it. You sand it stationary using a drill with a pad on. I use the Simon Hope pads. This is a pagoda box. Again, all turned from the square. The lid comes off with the little finial, hollowed and produced onto that.
What wood?
That, I'm not sure. It was a piece of wood that came in a bunch that I got from somebody who unfortunately passed away, and there was no name on it. I thought it was oak, but then when it turned out, it wasn't. And I'm not sure what the wood is, Jim. I wish I did know, because I'd get some more of it, or I could, because it's a beautiful graining wood for making boxes. This is a money box train that I made. As you can see, the train, I'll just whip this on a bit because it's just a little train. It's for my granddaughter's partner's son. And then, of course, how do you get into the money box? Well, the slot for the money is in the top of the boiler. You see this little hole here? Well, that is to take a rod, a dowel. And when you push the dowel through, it knocks the front of the smoke box off. So you can get your money out.
It would push all the money out too.
No, but no, yeah, all the money then can come out when you've done that, John. Yeah, absolutely. And then there's another train here based on the American West. Oh, that was the only one of that. I thought I had more. Yeah, there's just the one of that one. And I called that Fergus. Sorry?
Now, does that piston actually action? Is that piston action?
Yes,
I mean,
yeah. They go round and it works out of the pistons. And the bell rings up here through the cab. And I've actually put a nameplate on here and I call it Fergus. Michael will know where that is. It's out in Canada. But yes, it all works. It's got a cattle grid on the front here. And the bogie turns with a little spigot here.
So how many pieces of turning are in that? 20, 30?
Oh, I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, yeah, probably 20 or 30.
Yeah.
With the handrails bolted on as well.
Now, when you make a thing like that, are you just start making it, or do you make drawings first?
I make drawings first, John. To try
you
and
knew
get,
this is where you were going.
yeah, so I make I get some idea of the size of scale that I'm going to make it to.
But have you made gizmos like that before, the piston and the wheel action, or did you figure it out on this train?
I figured it out on this one train, John. First time I've done it. And
What's the boiler wood?
That was way back in 1996. I did that after I returned from Canada when I visited our friends out there in Fergus. And we'd gone off somewhere and we'd gone on a train trip and stood in the station was one of these trains. So I photographed it, came home, drew it up and proceeded to make it.
Got it. Nice work.
Now this is a gimbal lamp based on the ship's gimbals. Doesn't gimbal for safety in the home. It's all made out of laminated pieces. This is 2 circles joined together of 12 pieces. And on the other side where the sapele is, that's oak. And where the oak is, that's sapele on the other side, as you can see from the centerpiece. And that's then takes a candle with the globe. As I say, it's done for safety in the home. So based on the gimbal, and you can see that was 2011, that was.
What's the upside down finial on the bottom?
The finial on the bottom?
Yeah,
that would be on a normal ship's gimbal, that would be the lead weight. To keep it upright as the ship rolls so your light stays upright.
But you made it of wood, right?
I made it of wood, yeah, it's not metal. This is a temple clock that I make. This is about 6-inch diameter, 5 inches diameter with a pinion and a center clock. And the clock comes out and of course it's got a battery behind it. They sell for £40 each. This is another one I did for a lady. It's a company I do a lot of work for. And she asked if I could make a clock for her new home because she was moving. So I made up this ring with these segmented divisions, made the clock, but it's only a single. It's not like the gimbal lamp, it's purely a single ring and a plinth. And that she sent me the photograph sitting on a mantelpiece with the fireplace in the background. Now this is a stool. I made these back in 1986 and in my lifetime I have made 100 of them. Again, the ring is made out of two rings made up of 6 segments, and they are faced and glued together again with the segments joining halfway. Same with the bottom. I turn the top with a recess to take the cushion, the bottom is just turned. And the way I held these was I made myself a faceplate which had 4 holes in, and the 4 holes lined up with the pillar holes so that I could screw it onto the faceplate and turn after, because to start with, they are in lengths of wood, and the first screws go into the waste wood, which gets turned off. So when you turn it over, you can use the screw holes, and then you drill the holes for the pillars afterwards after you've marked them up, which again, I made a template to cover that. These are 14 inches diameter. The pillars are 6 inches. The 2 rings are 2 inches, and it has 3 little button feet of 1 inch. So that's 6, 8, 10, 11 inches of wood, and the cushion on top, which I do the upholstery for, using high density foam and buttons I got made by an upholsterer. And then I just screwed them in with 3 screws into the recess of the stool. And they sold, in those days, they were selling for £80 each.
A lot of work for £80.
This is a Georgian egg stand. It's one of the first things I tried to do with copy turning, and I've never got rid of it because they are not identical. I was getting to the pitch of knowing how to do it, and each one of these, when you start off back in 1984 learning, you think you know it, but you don't, and that's what's happened here. So these 6, and I can see it sitting here now where I'm sitting in the front room, my lounge, and that's what they are. That's a Georgian egg stand.
It makes them unique, Don.
It does make them unique, because then you can say each one's got his own egg cup when you've got 6 people. The other day I mentioned a candlestick that I made. I'd gotten the chap's name that came on and was making candlesticks for a church. This is made up of many pieces. First of all, it's made up out of scrap, solid wood, laminated worktop, kitchen worktops. So you've got the top, another piece, then this piece is separate. This piece here has been textured using the Robert Sorby texturing tool. This is another piece, that's another piece, and you've got the foot. And they're all doweled and fitted together. And that's the one where I said I use a ceramic plate I get from the garden centre, which is usually for pot plants, to take that 4-inch candle. And that's sitting on my landing. This is 3 bowls taken from one, natural edge bowls. As you can see, they're different shapes, taken from one burr.
Nice. Don, we're right at the hour, but I don't want to cut you off.
No, okay, just 2 seconds. I'll just
up.
show the photo.
Yeah,
this is the type of stuff I did for craft fairs. 2 different type of craft fairs, 3. This is
Go back to those for a second. Go back to the craft fairs for a second, please. I don't mean to rush you. I don't want to rush you, because we're all, those who are here, those who can stay are going to stay with us. So how many shows like that would you do a year?
When I was doing craft fairs, I was doing it practically every weekend. And I was coming home from work and going in my garage in the workshop for about 4 hours a night turning.
By yourself, pounding out all this work?
All you see in front of you is my own work.
Okay.
Just myself.
Who's the gentleman? Who's the gentleman there?
Well, that actually is my wife.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize, Don. I thought it was you with hair.
No, there she is again.
I'm going to have to mute you.
Yeah. You can see the stools are there, look, that I'd make. And some pyrography on a platter. Oh, what happened there? Have we gone?
Nope.
No, we're here, and we're seeing the slide of the in a tent.
This
There's
is
the next one.
This is another one that I did, and that's the lathe I used to take with me. This was a 3-day show, and I used to demonstrate at the show.
Wow.
This is the latest type of work I've been doing. This is actually for the Navy. This is a plinth that came to me for restoration. As you can see, it's in a very, very sorry state. The statue that goes on it was worth £20,000, solid silver. I'm going to show you that now. There she is. And there's the plinth already done. And she is Britannia. Absolutely beautiful. And that is my piece of resistance. This, I made a plinth for this cup in just 3 days because it had to be taken to Buckingham Palace on the Monday, and I was asked to make it on the Friday. So on the Sunday, I went to this person's house who was the silversmith so that we could have this label put on and present it to the Lieutenant Commander who came to collect it, who was going to deliver it on the Monday morning at Buckingham Palace for the christening of Prince George on the following Thursday. So that was the piece.
Nice stuff.
So that just shows you some of the stuff that I have made. I'll stop the share. That's some of the stuff I made over the last few years. I hope it's inspired and shows the type of stuff that I do here.
Really nice work.
Thank you very much.
I also saw you had a bunch of earring stands there, and sometime we'll have to talk about those maybe.
Yeah, I've done singles, doubles, and triples. And they used to sell like hotcakes as well. Yeah. Yeah, lots of different things, pens, lace bobbins. I mean, lace bobbins by a dozen. But quite a number of bowls. But my main thing was making stuff that was unusual rather than usual. Any other questions?
Nice job, Don. Nice job.
Thanks, Carl. I appreciate all your comments.
Very interesting to see all of that.
Well, it's when I come on here when I first started, and I've watched all you people, and I'm inspired by a lot of the stuff that you do. But I got to the point in my life at 85 years old that I'm not going to do very much more. I just want to do what I want to do. And I just want to show what happens over here, mostly with our club. It's very good.
Thank you very much.
No.
Well done, Don.
Very interesting. Thanks, Mike. Donald.
Thank you very much, Ron.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Lovely.
We're going to wind down now. It's almost 5 after 11. So thank you again for a delightful coffee hour. I'll post the videos as usual and send out the notices as usual. And I'll see you all next week.
See you next week. Goodbye, everyone.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Michael.
Wood shop. Thank God for wood.